Hello and welcome. I'm Johanna Farrimond, and I'm continuing this series on the 9 stages of ego development theory with the last stage, stage 6, which is also known as the Unitive or Ironist stage. Ego development theory is based entirely on empirical evidence. It was first pioneered by Jane Levenger and then further developed by Suzanne Cook-Greuter. And according to ego development theory, all 9 stages must be reached in consecutive order. And an ego stage is basically a view of reality that one most typically and automatically uses to deal with experience. You can think of it as your preferred stance, your usual way of relating and digesting your experiences. Whatever ego level you're experiencing sets the stage for the dilemmas, the difficulties that have to be resolved before you can progress to the next higher stage. Each stage also transcends and integrates the content of the lower stage into a more complex mental mode of reality. In other words, each higher stage can understand the stage below it, but the reverse is not true. Those who are in lower ego stages will tend to reduce whatever they glean from those at higher stages down to their own level of meaning that makes sense for them. So individuals who occupy the higher stages of development must at some point during their lives experience each of the earlier stages of development. And when you're at a lower developmental stage, you're going to inevitably encounter other people's worldviews that don't fit into your existing paradigm. And you'll tend to see them with this selective attention. You'll screen out any ideas or perceptions that you don't understand or agree with. I talked about how your beliefs not only affect your behavior, but how they also filter out reality in my last video. So check it out if you want to learn more. I'll link to it in the description below. When you do reach a higher ego level, you may be somewhat alienated from those around you, and this is normal. It's due to the changes in your worldview, which creates moral, psychological, and behavioral changes. As you grow into higher stages of ego development, you have probably experienced this kind of alienation on several occasions throughout your life. In the unitive ego stage, an entirely new way of perceiving human existence and consciousness is experienced. Instead of taking the perspective of a self, this new perspective is a universal one. The Ironists experience themselves and others as part of an ongoing humanity fulfilling the destiny of evolution. They can take multiple points of view and easily shift among many states of awareness. And feelings of belongingness and connectedness, as well as feelings of one's separateness and uniqueness, can be experienced without any tension. They're simply experienced as changing perceptions of the many possibilities of being. They can cherish the human characteristics in all beings and feel at one with them. They respect the essence in others, so they don't need to change or have them be any different. And from this point of view, higher ego stages aren't better than lower ones. And that's because we're all necessary parts of our interconnected reality and part of the overall evolutionary process. Unitive thinkers accept themselves as they are in a non-controlling way. And no matter how great their life achievements may be, they're aware that these achievements are actually insignificant in the grand scheme of ongoing human endeavors. And others are often struck by the humility and grace that they experience in the presence of these individuals. Ironists may be perceived as aloof, as not being engaged enough in the goals, the pursuits, and the concerns of common humanity, especially from the perspective of experts and achievers, and even those in the strategist ego stage can feel this way. What they can't see is that those in the unitive stage often act as catalysts in shaping others' lives by being what they are without excuses. They challenge others' perspectives. They inspire others by demonstrating a way of being human that's different from all the conventional ideas. They develop and display a deeper security about being than would be possible with a rationally generated self-identity. And unlike any other stage, Ironists seem to have intense, non-demanding relationships with people regardless of their development, regardless of their age, their gender, or any other identifications, because they see the dignity in all walks of life. They have an ability to make others feel worthy and whole. At the unitive ego stage, individuals have a completely intrinsic, transpersonal morality. So any inner conflicts and conflicting external demands are just part of being. They don't need to be resolved or denied, only witnessed through self-observation. Their actions are no longer driven by desires to be one way versus another way, or achieve one state of being over another state of being. Instead, they can just simply let go. Their concerns are more at a global level instead of an individual level. And their non-attached, impersonal attitude allows for a greater and more powerful action when it's needed. Their reality is experienced deeply at times as the unified consciousness. The quest for seeking meaning is now understood as an essential part of being human. All words, thoughts, feelings, sensations, they're all part of the human construct. At stage 6, these individuals feel interconnected with others as all conscious beings struggle to survive and to make sense of their existence. Ironists feel compassion, tolerance, and an affiliation with all manifestations of life. Peak experiences are no longer sought after with an otherworldly quality. They're a familiar way of being and experiencing. Total openness releases individuals to be in tune with the truth and to comprehend things in a more holistic way while perceiving them through the filter of the rational mind. The separation of self from others is now experienced as an illusion. It's an invention to safeguard the ego's need for permanence, the ego's need for self-importance, and to defend it against the fear of its death. These individuals have open boundaries and are aware rather than preoccupied with whatever enters their attention. They witness their experience without the conscious, willed focus and concern of other adult ego stages. The truth is out there looming in the universe, and it can be apprehended in this ready, open stance, but it cannot be grasped purely by rational means. Ironists have integrated their sense of unique identity as participants in the evolution of the universe. They're in tune with their life's work as a simultaneous expression of their unique selves and also as part of one's shared humanity. They care about the fundamental problems of the human condition. They work for justice, they seek fairness and benevolence towards all. And while they see themselves as responsible for making their own lives meaningful, they don't see themselves as the lone masters of their souls, as do the strategists and to some degree the magicians. Ways of being are infinite. Life appears as fulfilling a universal purpose. So it's fundamentally simple. Doing or thinking, just different modes of existing, but they're not any more valuable than feeling, being, or non-being. According to Suzanne Cook-Greuter, Ironists are more likely to have a balanced, integrated sense of both their connectedness and their separateness as individuals because they feel that they're part of the ongoing evolution of the universe in all its aspects and cycles of creation, destruction, and recreation. An individual's freedom is gained when one can realize the essential interconnectedness of all phenomena, all that we cannot see. And freedom is also gained when one sees the human ego-constructed aspects of boundaries, of self-identities, and our stories about life and nature. Much suffering is alleviated when the automatic habits that we learn as humans are unlearned and uncoupled from the memory of what was and the desires of what ought to be, and simply replaced with non-judgmental attention to what is. I'm Johanna Farrimond, and I hope you've enjoyed this series on the 9 stages of ego development theory.